Hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar titled The Tridge Advantage: Unlocking Opportunities in the Global Marketplace. The digitalization of agricultural trade is crucial for streamlining processes, increasing efficiency, and enhancing transparency and accessibility to the supply chain. In this webinar, we will show how real-time data can help buyers and suppliers make fast and agile decisions. Furthermore, we will also demonstrate how digital platforms like Tridge can connect, empower buyers and suppliers through our online trading platform services. Tridge and Food Africa, after that, we'll discuss the perspectives on international trade in the African processed food and agricultural sector, also addressing the challenges that stakeholders in Africa might have. Now, one of the ways in which Tridge can help buyers and suppliers connect is through our Tridge social marketplace. Now, on Tridge social marketplace, farmers, processors, exporters, importers, most of them can showcase their products that they have on offers. And then the buyers and importers, they can browse with confidence. Now, one example of the companies you can find here on Tridge Social Marketplace is the Alphoa Date Company, who's also our sponsor of today's webinar. Now, for today, some of you might need a proof of attendance, so we will be supplying a certificate of participation if you need that. Now, in order to get this proof of attendance, we do ask that during the end of the webinar, we'll be sharing a survey, so a link to a survey. So could you please take this survey, and then there will be a section where you can fill out your details and you will receive this certificate of participation. So we're broadcasting live on LinkedIn and YouTube, and that link will be shared in the chat on LinkedIn and YouTube. For today's agenda, what we'll be covering, first, the webinar will consist of three main parts. The first two parts will be done through a presentation, which is gaining global market access with Tridge. And then the second part is exploring the Tridge marketplace. Now, this will be followed by a panel discussion where experts from Tridge and Food Africa share their views on the most burning questions about how to use online platforms and trade exhibitions to enhance sourcing and find buyers for their products. If time permits, at the end of the panel discussion, we'll be taking some live questions from our viewers. So please make use of the YouTube chat and the LinkedIn chat. So if you have any questions for our panelists, and we might be able to get to them at the end of the webinar. To move on to the people who are involved in this webinar, it's myself. My name is Theo. I'll be your host. I'm a global market analyst in Tridge in the market intelligence team. So the market intelligence team provide these quality insights into the agri and food markets, and we also help buyers and sellers make informed decisions. I'll be joined by three experts. So Bojan Mijatovic, he's my colleague, also a GMA. And then also Jacob Rudman, who is our platform sales manager. And then our special guest is Dalia Kabeel, who is the exhibition manager from Food Africa. Now, I'm going to ask Jacob and Dalia to introduce themselves a bit later on, once we get to the panel discussion. So for now, I'm going to ask Bojan to introduce himself, and Bojan will also be doing the presentation. So Bojan, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then you can just start with your presentation also, please.
Thank you, Theo. Like Theo said, my name is Bojan Mijatovic, and I'm a trade analyst with specialty in fruits and vegetables. So for today's presentation, we will give a brief overview of Tridge solutions and advantages of using Tridge platform, as well as pointing out to importance of Food Africa and international trades. So we can move on to the first slide, Theo. Global market access with Tridge. Once again, welcome to Tridge webinar, where the power of real-time insight in global market is at your fingertips. For example, last month, Tridge users gained crucial insights into sudden surge in demand for organic produce, enabling the adapt strategy promptly. Tridge users can leverage data-driven solutions for informed decision-making. For instance, a major agribusiness utilized our analytics tools to identify emerging trends in sustainable farming, guiding them towards friendly sourcing practices. Tridge's extensive and diverse data covers crucial aspects such as price, trade, production, and seasonality. Users can gain a competitive edge in international trade with Tridge commitment to quality, reliability, and industry recognition. Tridge also got validated as acknowledged source by the New York Times and establishing trust among stakeholders in the agriculture sector. And recently, our colleague René Salinas published an opinion where Ecuador surpasses India as top US import origin of frozen ships, and even this went to the official letter of Congress of the United States. Also, our very own Theo published a report on Turkish hazelnuts, pointing out the loss of market share for Turkish hazelnuts in the global stage, emphasizing the need for modernization and adapting. On our next slide, access to global markets. Tridge provides unparalleled access to a vast global network across 150 countries. As an example, small-scale farmer from Kenya connected with a buyer from Japan through Tridge, expanding their market reach and securing a stable buyer for their products. Tridge also allows users to stay ahead in international trade with real-time insights. For instance, when the avocado market experienced a sudden shift due to climate changes, Tridge users received instant updates, allowing them to adjust their strategies and capitalize on the emerging market trends. Join Tridge community. We have almost 5,000 users, serving clients from small-scale farmers to global giants like Costco, Kellogg, and Walmart. An illustration is a recent collaboration between a local co-op facilitated through Tridge, demonstrating the platform's ability to bridge gaps between diverse scales of businesses. Users can also see constant price updates and market updates, as pictured in the slide, with raw peanuts in India and salmon happenings in Chile. Ultimately, Tridge provides reliable company-level data and customs data from across the world, providing powerful insights on exact trading prices, trade relationship, market dynamics, and more. Next, we come to data-driven solutions. Tridge uses advanced data-driven solutions for international trade complexities. For example, a trading company successfully employed our analytics tool to identify market trends for a niche spice, enabling them to strategically position themselves as leaders in that space. Empowering agriculture stakeholders with market intelligence. For example, farmers in Argentina, armed with rich data, made informed decisions on crop planting, leading to increased yields and enhanced market entry strategies. We also closely cover fruits and vegetable dynamics and point out on emerging opportunities like Egypt and its lead to global orange exports, particularly to the EU, with almost 41% year-on-year increase in 2022-23. The country's high-quality citrus has seen a 279% growth in export volume over the last decade. Tridge also points out to major changes in the agriculture sector, like the global effects of climate change on the agriculture industry. Moving on to navigating the complexities of international trade. Tridge tries to simplify international trade complexities with a user-friendly platform. Case in point, a startup with minimal experience in global trade found success navigating compliance and market entry barriers seamlessly through Tridge. We also allow our users to stay informed on retail trends with extensive analysis. Recently, a beverage company utilized Tridge reports to align their product offerings with evolving consumer preferences, resulting in a significant boost to retail sales. We have been on the market for over 10 years now, covering more than 140 countries with data and even more represented in our user base. We are constantly improving and expanding, targeting various agricultural stakeholders. Coming on to the Tridge and Food Africa, Tridge recognized Food Africa efforts in connecting buyers and suppliers in need for global cooperation and networking. Through global events like Food Africa, attendees with potential partners and distributors, fostering collaboration that extend beyond the event at the same time, leverage Tridge's platform data to complete trading plans and projects. Utilizing international fairs for product launches. At recent trade fair, a Tridge user successfully launched a new line of sustainable packaging, capitalizing on the environmentally conscious health trends observed through Tridge market intelligence. We are moving now to the second part of our presentation today, exploring the Tridge marketplace and enhancing market access and trade. There are too many information about agricultural products and trade. Tridge tries to simplify these solutions. Discover diverse services offered by Tridge's online trading platform. A case in point is a logistics company streamlining their operation by utilizing procurement and quality assurance services. Our most recent feature is data and analytics, and users can gain understanding of global market dynamics and trends to enhance their business efficiency, sustainability, and competitiveness through transaction data. Company analytics, transaction analytics report, and transaction explorer, and other features are important, as well as domestic price data, daily customs data, and many more useful options to deep dive in global market elements. Witness a live demonstrations of the user-friendly interface. During a recent webinar we had in the past, users could see how we guide them through Tridge's powerful functionalities, showcasing how easily they could find and connect with suppliers globally. We compiled the data, and the data becomes intelligence. And afterward, the intelligence attracts users, and many of them turn into our premium users, becoming our buyers or suppliers. They start doing transactions with us, and those transactions create more and more data and feedback to our data intelligence. So there's a flywheel effect with time with increasing the data. Our suppliers, when they deal with Tridge, they can deal with many buyers simultaneously without deploying salesmen to many countries. And that aggregated demand gives us better bargaining power. So how are we connecting stakeholders? Tridge Marketplace is the one solution that Tridge offers to foster connections across the agricultural supply chain. Recently, a cooperative of small-scale farmers found a reliable buyer for their products through Tridge, creating a mutually beneficial connection. Communication features facilitate direct, transparent, and efficient. For instance, a buyer and a supplier in different time zones successfully negotiated a deal in real time using Tridge's communication tools, ensuring efficient and transparent transactions. Tridge verifies every supplier through various checks before offering it on our platform, as seen on the carrot company on the right side of the slide. One of the most crucial factors in the food and agriculture product trading industry is building strong relationships with suppliers, customers, and other stakeholders. This means investing time and resources in developing personal connection and trust, as well as creating mutually beneficial partnerships with other companies. Moving on to quality business relationships. Users, stakeholders, agricultural stakeholders should invest in building strong relationships with suppliers, customers, and stakeholders. Recently, a supplier showcase their commitment in quality through Tridge platform, ensuring trust and long-term partnership with global buyers. Users on Tridge platform can showcase their businesses, develop mutually beneficial partnerships. In a case study involving a dairy producers gaining exposure and securing distributors partnership with major retailers by showcasing their products on Tridge marketplace. Through online buyer profiles, users can decide the right solutions for their need, enhance decision making, and increase revenue. On the right side of the slide, you can see analytics that our platform is offering for every supplier and the buyer profile, for example. And you can make informed decisions based on quality informative data. On the next slide, we are targeting global reach. The food and agriculture product trading industry is constantly evolving, with new trends and technologies emerging on a regular basis. To be successful in this field, it is essential to stay informed about current market trends, as well as emerging technologies and innovations that could impact your business. Through Tridge platform, users can access convenient tools for business growth. An example is a mid-sized trading company utilizing Tridge's buyer analytics to identify potential markets for expansion and optimizing their sourcing strategy. Tridge users can maximize potential with advanced search options. Suppliers utilize Tridge search specific certification, for example, connecting with buyers who prioritize sustainable and organic products, for example. Stay informed through Tridge platform about current market trends. Recently, Tridge published an analysis provided anticipate a surge in demand for a specific variety of rice, for example, allowing them to adjust the inventory accordingly. Of course, you need to leverage tools for strategic decision making. A large-scale exporter utilizes Tridge data analytics forecasts, guiding them in making strategic decisions in crop planting and global market entry. For every month, we are publishing monthly outlook report for various commodities from our colleagues. Monthly report, you can see the forecast of prices, market trends, production, yields, and all the other factors that are influencing trade and prices at that moment. We try to keep as transparent as possible and up to date and engaging as much as possible. So for our final slide, which I will give space to Dalia more, but I will mention it briefly. Facts and figures about Food Africa in 2023. It is expected more than 9 exhibitors from 32 countries and 13 national pavilions. This is all on my side. I'm looking forward to Dalia's presentation and speaking about Food Africa, and Jacob tackling with the current Tridge possibilities and solutions.
Thank you very much, Bojan. Yeah, I think we're living in the agricultural industry, data is becoming more important. And like the saying goes, if you can measure it, you can manage it. These specific case studies, I think, were really useful. It shows just how we can leverage digital platforms and platforms like Tridge to make these decisions. So we're going to go to the panel discussion next, which will be mostly with Jacob and Dalia, and then also if there are any questions specific later on, myself and Bojan will also get into it. But I'm going to start and I'm going to ask Jacob. Jacob, can you give us a quick introduction of yourself and also tell us what you do in Tridge, please?
Yes, absolutely, and really great to be a part of this discussion today. My name is Jacob Rudman. I lead the platform sales team in the US and Canada. Mainly our team is focusing on working with buyers and sellers who either are looking to import to the US or Canada or vice versa, export from the US or Canada. And even recently in the extent to where we're being more specific is is working quite a lot with food and beverage processors, manufacturers, and traders who are actually looking to potentially import certain raw materials that allow them to reduce their costs as they battle the inflation and really the new consumer trends that have been developed quite a bit further in the US in the past few years. And even in more specific nature, I've actually worked with quite a few businesses from a few countries in Africa that we've actually been able to help connect them with some buyers, both in the US and Canada, that have been able to really get some beneficial introductions. So excited to hear from Dalia here as well.
Yeah, me too. Excited to hear from Dalia. So, Dalia, can you give us a quick introduction of yourself and also Food Africa?
Okay, thank you very much for the chance being with you here today in the panel. My name is Dalia Kabeel. I represent the exhibition Food Africa, which is yearly held in Cairo. This year's edition is the 8th edition. It's going to be held, inshallah, from the 12th till the 14th of December in Egypt International Convention Center. We have started this exhibition 8 years ago with the idea and belief that there is a lot of trade potentials in Africa that hasn't been tackled yet. There is no major platform where the world can meet African traders, buyers, exporters. So this was the trigger to have the show at the start, and we during the different editions we grew every year. We have every year more pavilions, new vendors from African countries from around the world. Also the buyers, which were mentioned before. We have a huge buyers delegation, which is yearly coming to the exhibition. We try to promote for the intra-African trade because we have been in many countries around Africa, and we see a lot of potential products that can be more visible to buyers from around the world, and they need to be showcased in a prime good way. So during the show, we have all the diversification of the different food products, from agriculture crops, pulses and grains, processed food, fresh produce, all kinds of meat, seafood, herbs and spices. So we believe that the exhibitions are always one of the important tools to match buyers and sellers together. So we actually have always concentrated on acquiring and sourcing for the potential markets, potential buyers who can grow business with mainly African exhibitors and vendors. And during the exhibition, there will be also B2B matchmaking taking place during the exhibition, a conference where maybe more than 100 speakers will be tackling different topics like shipping, like financing, like donor development agencies working in Africa. So we hope that people who will be exhibiting or visiting Food Africa will have the chance to benefit from all these activities.
Thank you very much, Dalia. And it sounds like, we all need to be there. I'm gonna move on. We have 3 questions that we're gonna pose to our panelists. I'm gonna move on to these questions. And Dalia, while you're telling us about Food Africa, I'm just gonna direct this question to you. So many, from both a supplier and a buyer side, right? There are many challenges that they face getting their product out there, and then also from the buyers, like their challenges when it comes to sourcing products internationally. So, also from an Africa perspective and how Food Africa can help, what are the key challenges that stakeholders face when it comes to global trade and sourcing products internationally?
Okay, I will answer, as you mentioned, from the Africa point of view, or being in Africa. There has always been challenges in finding reliable, sustainable sources, meaning that maybe there is always a lack of information or communication with the different sources of products in the continent. which makes it a little bit difficult for the buyers to have constant sustainable relations with their suppliers. And this takes us to the point that if a company is really serious in growing their business, they have to have a reliable communication channel with their potential buyers. They have to be going to exhibitions on a regular basis. They have to have communication channels like websites, social media pages, and so on. They have to be listed in portals like Tridge and so on, so people can rely on communicating with them. This is one of the major actually challenges we face in Egypt or Africa in general. The second is definitely also, from my point of view, the supply chain and the shipping lines and the inland transportation, which makes it sometimes difficult to reach out to some African countries. There are now many trials on new shipping lines dedicating some regular lines to African countries or railway or whatever. So we hope also this improves, because definitely the supply chain or the transportation is one of the major tools that will make the trading with Africa more easy and more sustainable. And the third challenge that could be definitely also the pricing. And we believe that this should be in favor of Africa, because we are competitive. We have very unique and good quality products or agricultural crops from different countries I have visited recently. They are beautiful products who just need to be presented in a wider scope, but definitely in terms of price and quality, they are the best.
Thank you. I totally agree. We'll talk a little bit about one of the things you mentioned, building trust with some of the suppliers. But first, let's go over to you, Jacob. So, Jacob, from a sourcing point of view, also, what are these challenges that stakeholders face from?
I would say first of all, I completely am in agreement with Dalia on all of her points. Number one, they're all on my list here as well, as I'm sure everybody who's watching and listening today is, unfortunately had to be very aware of avoiding fraudulent traders, and unfortunately there are a lot of online platforms that are kind of ripe for the fraudulent kind of communication channels and processes starting. So being able to really establish that two-way trust early on and build that credibility as quickly as possible is something that's very important to be able to help with. I think there's a survey that either we did or I saw that we were able to get our hands on that said like 86% of agri professionals believe trust is the most crucial part of the trade, which I believe is really spot on. And equally, with that being said, part of that trust, reliability, and credibility can also come into finding a partner in potentially new markets that is actually, in agreement with whatever the expected Incoterms and actually what goes into that potential partnership. Because what we have seen is really that there are plenty of experiences where those don't necessarily match. There's a hope and plan that folks can work together, but unfortunately, with different kind of alignment in different countries, it's a little bit more challenging. And equally, that kind of goes right into the same kind of mold as what Dalia mentioned around shipping and logistics and quality assurances during those shipment processes. Because of course it can take a lot of time and be expensive to sample product or transact in more of a limited trial quantity before you potentially can establish that longer term contract. And of course, there's a lot of checks and balances that go into that, and a lot of time, and of course, investment that has to come with it as well. The other, kind of challenges that we've really been able to see quite a bit, especially in the last, year plus, is just the potential for, quick and sometimes very difficult policy changes that happen at different parts of the world. Just the ability for some countries to, or the need, I should say, for some countries to adjust what they can import, what they can export based on the needs of their own country themselves. That can force, different buyers, different suppliers to have to look elsewhere for where they're actually looking to move or purchase their product from. And then secondly, with that similar kind of thought process is the disruptions that can come with just, more of the unknowns or unexpecteds that could come with trade partners, whether it be weather, whether it be quality or price. Of course, like Dalia mentioned, that they can have a big impact on the final bottom line, which forces, each of those buyers and suppliers to really make sure they're identifying potential alternatives. Even if they don't need it now, they might need to be able to move quickly and find an alternative trade partner if there are products that you're really looking to work quite a bit in high volumes with. And then I would just say lastly is really just making sure that the certification and quality standards are in line with expectations. I think we've seen in a lot of kind of experiences or seen from our clients' perspectives in a lot of ways that sometimes the processes in which certifications, licenses in different countries are acquired isn't always what everybody expects them to be, and there needs to be still some due diligence in the part of both buyers and the suppliers to understand that all of those certifications and licenses are going to be on par with what the final transaction is going to look like. So this can obviously lead to some delays in completing the trades, and even of course sometimes the unfortunate standpoints that opportunities can get closed off because it wasn't quite as aligned in the sense of what the processes, the operating processes actually led to when it comes to the quality standpoint of things.
Thanks, Jacob. Yeah, I think several challenges are in place. I want to get back to the first one both you and Dalia mentioned was trust and confidence. So I want to ask this question kind of in a way from, let's say, a supplier. So if you're dealing with a supplier, you're trying to negotiate with a supplier, how can they show that they are a trustworthy supplier or somebody who you can deal with in confidence? So I'll ask this, Jacob, if you can give your reply, and then also Dalia, if you can elaborate on what you think.
Sure. Yeah, I think that in the sense of establishing that trust and credibility early on, it can come from a few places, but I think the most important ones are real validated documentation and experiences. So whether it be providing, real documentation about business registration, recent bill of lading, full product catalog, and having that continued layer of connectability between, your business accounts, having a website, having all of the things line up in the same way is helpful to at least establish that initial trust. And then being able to see kind of real endorsements or actually real history of the potential trading kind of flows that you've been a part of. Those are things that we know the buyers and suppliers on both sides, they're really interested in seeing to make sure they're going to have a similar experience and can be confident that trade is going to be productive for them.
How about you, Dalia? How do you think?
I think that it would help that a company should first work on the local market because they will have more control dealing on less logistics and less challenges. So they improve for a while in the local market till they create a good reputation, a good positioning in the market, and so on. If there are some R&D or development that should be done in the product, they do it. Definitely, when you work local, it's not stressing like when you go abroad. This should be the case for a couple of years till the company feels they are export ready and they have enough resources and also investments to go abroad, and then they can start tackling or approaching buyers, and then the buyers will ask for their history of work and so on, and then it will start one by one till they grow their exporting business as well.
Thank you. I think some good advice to build that initial trust is really important. We're going to move on to the next question. So the next question is more about data and how data can help companies, importers, exporters, buyers, even investors plan their decisions. I'm going to direct this question first to Jacob, and then I also want to get your input, Dalia, even though it's not specifically to Tridge, but how data can help with the decision-making process. So the question first to you, Jacob, how important is real-time data and insights in global decisions, and how does Tridge help to provide this data?
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that it's really important, especially as the world becomes more and more digital, that having data quickly and in a timely manner is something that's growing even more and more important. Whether you're an exporter, an importer, manufacturer, logistics consulting firm, or even a government organization, data and market insights need to be available really faster and a deeper level. Because those decisions need to be made quickly and ideally with more data-driven, informed decisions going with it. Given there are plenty of disruptions that can happen through weather, policy changes, or forces way out of people's control, the rapid pace and potentially changing of decisions needed quickly, and having reliable data to actually make sure that those decisions can be made thoughtfully. Within the data, especially that must be helpful, it should be providing really a deep understanding of the market dynamics to help identify emerging trends, consumer preferences, being able to track key price trends, as well as aligning your strategies to those trends and opportunities. Additionally, you'll really want to make sure that you can find something that can increase the visibility of the supply chain, to enable tracking and of the flow of your products globally, allowing you to enhance efficiencies, reduce supply chain risks. And at the end of the day, we know most of the folks that are utilizing data, a big key is being able to identify potential new business partners, whether it's through analysis of a competitive landscape or even just identifying the companies who are purchasing products, or who knows, maybe even the movement of your competitors, to be able to understand what they're doing. And within Tridge's platform, that's really what we strive to help provide, because of really our global coverage that spans across companies and countries worldwide. 140 countries, 400 plus sources, 3 million data points weekly, 1,000 agri products. The big kind of difference for us and where we really want to really separate ourselves from other data platforms is just that we are so agri-food focused. We're not going out and trying to do this with every product that's traded globally under the sun. We're really focused on just helping agribusinesses with tailored needs, so they don't have to filter through products they don't really necessarily have the same level of needs about, and then aggregating and standardizing that so it can be utilized in the best possible way is something that we believe is very important, because it provides more accurate insights and improved decision making. And overall, this leads to better and more strategic business decision making that we're confident that Tridge's insights can actually provide.
Thanks, Jacob. So Dalia, I think this is a pretty tough question, given that Africa has not necessarily as much visibility towards data as you might see in other regions. So how do you think, how is, or which kind of data is important from this point of view, and how can this help with decision making?
To be honest, nowadays everybody knows the value of real-time data and market insights in general. You will find it all over the world. market insights from reliable channels like Tridge or for me are also in exhibitions. You can read the market, you can see the opportunities to plan, you can get to know where are the potentials if there is a shortage in a crop in a country competing, so you can plan ahead for your expansion plan for this crop to be able to fill the gap. You will know about the pricing of your competitors, so you can set also your pricing in a good bracket. It can also show you data about if there is an increase in wages or in cost of gas or whatever in some countries, so you can estimate that there will be an increase in their prices, which could give you a better positioning for your product. So all these data can definitely make you plan ahead and make you also make use of increasing your products or your crops to make use of this situation. So definitely in nowadays, everybody should be relying on data to plan ahead or to make their forecasts. Otherwise, you cannot like blindly produce and make your pricing without knowing what is happening in the rest of the world. So we always invite all the exhibitors or manufacturers in Africa, or wherever we are in any country, that they have to look for a reliable source of data, of market insights, to be able to make a good positioning and planning for their own products.
Definitely important to plan for the future. So moving on to more the practical side of sourcing and exhibiting products and finding, connecting buyers and sellers. So we'll go to this question, which is I'll direct it to Dalia first. How has Food Africa simplified the process of sourcing or selling products globally? So Dalia, can you tell us a bit about that, please?
Okay, we have worked in different channels. One of them is definitely we have Tridge as one of our strategic partners of the exhibition this year as the e-commerce partner. We have been doing a lot of activities through the Tridge network to reach out to serious buyers to come and visit the show to source from our exhibitors' products. In addition, we organize, like mentioned, we have a hosted buyers delegation for more than 500 international buyers that we source. 50% of these buyers are from the African continent, also from North Africa, from Middle Africa, from the GCC also, if we speak Middle East. So we try to use all our expertise in sourcing the right buyers to come to the show to meet with our exhibitors, which are this year expected to be more than 900 exhibitors. And this is, we can claim this is the biggest food exhibition happening or taking place in Africa across the continent. As well as that, we have B2B matchmakings that happen every day during the show days, where we announce this agenda for our exhibitors and our visitors, so they can meet during the sessions, which are divided into sub-sectoral sessions for each food subcategory. And during these sessions, buyers and exhibitors can meet for an initial get to know the basic information about the products, and later have time to move around the exhibition halls and to visit the booths and to get to know more about the pricing and the products and the diversification and everything. We have a big team that is dealing with the buyers and the exhibitors to know about what they need to match them with the right exhibitors. And during our recent editions, this mechanism worked a lot, and we have witnessed significant trade for our exhibitors with the different buyers that we host. And every edition we try to get new buyers to always have a new feed, definitely with the help with strategic partners like Tridge and others that we work with.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, Dalia. I also want to know, like, if it's not possible for somebody to physically attend the Food Africa, are there some online resources?
Yes, on the exhibition website, we have the list of exhibitors. You can search by product, you can search by country, you can search by company name, and then you will have the list of who is selling this product to take contact with.
Thanks very
And
much.
there is also an application on the smart mobiles.
Okay. Perfect. Let's move over to you, Jacob. So, Jacob, can you tell us how does Tridge help simplify the sourcing process and selling products globally?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the really the beauty of what we've been working on and continuing to evolve here at Tridge is that we'd like to be kind of the first of its kind in the online kind of one-stop shop type of scenario for global B2B trade in the agri-food sector. We're really focused on supporting agribusiness all over the globe, and whether it's showcasing your products to targeted global business audience of buyers in between attendance of great exhibitions like what Dalia and Food Africa they're hosting in a couple weeks, or finding a verified incredible new supplier in a market you've never imported from. Tridge's social marketplace helps you really make those connections quickly, engage, and start to build those long-term relationships that can be based on trust. And hopefully maybe you meet one of those new partners at Food Africa, next year when you're able to attend as well. Additionally, if you're looking to evaluate the competitive relationships and movements that you see among your peers to help discover new partners, or you're looking to negotiate pricing more competitively, Tridge's data and analytics really help you unlock the potential of what we consider the data-driven success. And overall, really together, what we're trying to do, within our platform and within our network is harness the power of data, technology, and human expertise to really help the agribusinesses around the world grow. So at the end of the day, we all can make a really positive impact on the world and on the overall global agriculture and food trade.
Thanks. Thanks. Yeah, I think very important to get this connection. We finished the questions for the panel discussion, and we're going to move on to the Q&A session. So again, I want to ask if any of our viewers has any questions, they can just drop them in the chat on YouTube and also LinkedIn. So one question that we have is basically, let's talk a little bit about the processing or food processing in Africa, and then exporting, let's say, more processed foods. So we would, for example, we can argue and say that labor costs in Africa is usually lower than, let's say, some of the big importing regions like Europe or North America. And what is there a trend that you're observing, Dalia, in the in exhibition Food Africa, where there are more exhibitors that have food that is processed a bit higher up in the supply chain? Is there a trend that you're observing in this? Is it still very basic, very raw products? And how can these companies get higher up into the supply chain?
To be honest, at the exhibition, we have all kind of products. We have from the processed food side, we have products like tomato paste, olives, olive oil, pasta, confectionery, cakes, processed meat. In addition, we have the fresh produce like oranges, grapes, avocados, pulses and grains. It's all the products. But definitely, and there are also other exhibiting pavilions from different countries, which might have also some specializations or edges in some products. So I believe that the competitiveness of the African countries are in, like you mentioned, the labor wages, the prices of the supply chain items like the rent, the electricity cost, the gas, and so on, which can make it competitive in addition to the quality. It has to be both. It can't only be the price, because people are looking for the price and the quality. But if we see the cashews coming from Tanzania, for example, or the avocado and pineapples from Uganda and so on, and the coffee beans, the vanilla, there are many products in Africa that can be exported in big quantities and very competitive, and especially for the seasonality as well. It can be sold in different seasons than other countries, especially in the crops on the agriculture side, will give it also an edge.
Thanks. Yeah. Jacob, what do you think from an importer's point of view? Would importers be interested in more processed products? Because at the moment, most of the processing still takes place like in this, the agri supply chain is mostly, let's say, raw products getting imported and it being processed domestically in many cases. So is there a demand for more processed products?
Sure. I mean, I think from what we've seen and what we've heard through kind of the retailer trend reports that we've really been putting together that help us, really understand what's going on in the retail space, of what's actually being purchased, prices, things of that nature, is at the end of the day, everyone's trying to battle inflation in some way, shape, or form. And if there is the ability to import a product into the US or Canada that allows, prices to be, more attractive, or without losing, of course, the quality, or having to test out the quality in the sense of a long-term engagement, can be very important. And I think that's something that importers are driven to evaluate. I think some of the other keys that are going into that is just the ever-changing kind of consumer landscape and what they actually are looking to purchase that is processed, and what ingredients do they have. Organic, of course, is growing and growing as a very important part of the demand channel in the United States especially. And we see that obviously continuing, and if there's the ability to continue that growth with reduction of potential costs, I think it's a huge opportunity for some organizations and countries that can import it with a reduction in their overall labor costs or raw materials that they're able to provide within their existing landscape.
Yeah, totally agree. It's in the end, it's about cost, I think. So yeah, save money. I think there's one. We'll get to one more question before we wrap up this webinar, and I think it's quite an interesting one, which also I'm going to direct mostly to Dalia. We see that more and more there's from, let's say, developed countries that are mostly importers. There's more and more a focus on the environmental impact of agriculture in Africa, and making sure that the companies that import from are not contributing to deforestation and not having the worst impact on the environment. So how can companies that exhibit their products on, for example, Food Africa, or companies that want to export their products, how can they showcase their commitment to, let's say, not worsening the environment?
Okay, I believe that Africa is maybe one of the few continents or countries which are not affecting the climate or having any processing methods that is causing any problems. In contrary, I believe we have a very friendly agro-processing industry or agriculture industry in general. We have a lot of clean production, we call it, organic as well. I had recently some discussions with investors coming, for example, to Egypt to look for farms and lands to plant, because there are, as you know, severe climate change in Europe, for example, which thank God it has not affected Egypt. For example, till now we have stable weather as before. The climate change didn't reach us yet. So we believe that we have sustainable and environmental friendly practices in Africa in general. And there are every day I witness in many exhibitions exhibitors from Africa in general exhibiting organic products, and this gives them definitely also an edge compared to conventional products. Or if it's not organic, they clean agriculture, which definitely gives an edge for our products from the continent. In addition, I read now also flowers. Definitely, Kenya, for example, is one of the main flower sources to the world, and they have beautiful flowers, and they are exported to many European and US countries.
All right, thanks. Yeah, I think that's becoming more and more important. I'm also going to ask Bojan about that. Bojan, you've dealt a little bit with this. How important is being able to provide, like, showcasing that you are committed to sustainability for these companies?
Thanks, Theo. Sustainability has always been a topic that Tridge tried to tackle with, and of course, to create a sustainable environment is to use the most technologies available, and Tridge platform tries to be ahead, like in resourcing, sourcing for the suppliers and buyers, and keep the communication and supply chain as quick as possible, and shortening decision making and enhancing trade. Also, the importance of, like we mentioned, and Dalia and Jacob, the importance of real-time data, accurate data, transparent, and basically, like we through the whole webinar said, trust among buyers and suppliers are all the key elements of environment.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I agree totally. All right, guys. I think this is the end of a very insightful webinar, showing us how these digital platforms can help, and how exhibitions can help suppliers and buyers connect. So I would say thanks very much to all the insightful comments. So on a final note, we just want to add one more thing, which is Tridge's banner service. Now, through Tridge's banner service, you get access to more than 200,000 monthly Tridge users, as well as our newsletter subscriber base. We have many suppliers, importers, wholesalers, retailers, institutes, and other great organizations in the food industry that are looking at Tridge every day. So it's a powerful channel to reach all these kinds of profiles. So please reach out to us if you'd like to make use of our banner service. We've also shared the survey. So the survey to just helping us put out quality content in these webinars and putting out quality content overall. So even if you're not interested in getting a certificate of attendance, please also take the survey and just help us improve and help us keep putting out quality content. Then on a final note, just on behalf of Tridge and our presenters, I think thank you very much for joining us today. And like a very special thanks to Dalia and Jacob, and also Bojan for the presentation and all these insightful conversations that we could have. So please reach out to us at Tridge if you'd like to connect with buyers and sellers, and if you'd like to improve your decision making through our insights and our data. So wherever you are, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you in our next webinar.
Thank you.